Folks, welcome back to another episode of The Fallen Badge. Today we're going to look at the murder of Officer Kenneth Moats, Maryville Police Department, Tennessee. Officer Moats was 32 years old. He had 9 years with the Maryville Police Department. Now, Maryville is a beautiful little town there in East Tennessee. Now, at the time of this event, he was assigned to the 5th Judicial District Drug Task Force. Now, he was married and he had 3 kids. And Maryville being a smaller department, Officer Moats had had a chance to work in several different areas. He had been a motor officer at one time as well. People thought a lot of him. The same can't be said for the suspect, as is usually the case. It's August 25th, 2016. Officer Moats and his partner that particular day in this drug unit was a deputy. It's one of those joint task force. Now they hear a armed party call go out, and it's in regards to a domestic violence. Now, they're not too far away from where that call's originating from. So they tell the dispatcher they're going to head over that way and just kind of see what's going on until uniformed officers get there. Now, earlier in the day, the police had been to the house. The house is 625 Alcoa Trail. When they got there, it was a domestic between the father and the son. The son was grown. Now, there wasn't enough probable cause to arrest anybody. No injuries, because that's what you're looking for. Is there any injuries, guns involved? Father didn't want to prosecute his son. Of course, now the way the domestic violence law is written, if officers saw signs of violence, they could make an arrest without the victim wanting to press charges. And evidently this first time the son had done a chest bump on his daddy. And now the suspect's a pretty big fella, so that's a pretty big chest bump. Well, anyways, later in the day, girlfriend of the suspect, he'd been over around her house. Well, he was drinking Jim Beam whiskey all day. She said she vacated her house in a hurry at around 3:30. Now, she did this after the suspect had cranked off some rounds into the house. She had a baby. I don't know if it's his baby or not, but in any event, she takes off with the child and they go to the Alcoa Police Department. She calls the daddy. She says, "Your son's on the warpath and he's coming your way." And he says he's coming to get you. Now, ordinarily, you wouldn't have narcotics officers respond on something like this, but when you get in smaller jurisdictions, you got to help each other. There's not as many policemen to go around. So now obviously they're in an unmarked vehicle, and they know it may take a couple minutes for the deputies or the officers, whoever's making this call, to get there. And if this fella's armed, they want to see what they can see. So it'll certainly help, because they don't look like they're in a police vehicle. And now they drive by the address, which is 625 Alcoa Trail. They're kind of looking around the house as they're cruising by, and then they hang a left and they go down Kerrway Lane. They pull into the driveway there at 3111 Kerrway. Now they throw their vest on, Kevlar vest, and they're taking cover there behind their vehicle, and they can see the back of the house and the garage. Garage is one of those rear entrance garages. Now, while they're sitting there, the daddy comes out and they able to get his attention, and they get him down there to their vehicle. They're in a big SUV. They get him down there and they get him undercover. Well, now they see the suspect coming around the house, and he is armed with a pistol. Now, the distance from the garage and where the officers are at, it's 70, 80 yards easy. So they put that information out, and they're just standing by, which is what you should do. Wait and get some more help. And you've alerted the officers heading to the scene what's going on, so they don't just blunder right into something. Now, when the suspect walked into the garage from outside, of course, it's dark inside the garage. You're outside in the sunlight. You get inside that garage, and you can't really see very well if you're on the outside. Now, according to Officer Moats' partner, the suspect went over by some metal shelves that were sitting there in the garage, and he put his arm across one of those shelves to use it as a steadying point, and he started cranking off rounds. Now, he's firing a .45 caliber pistol. Now, 4 of those rounds hit the SUV. One of the rounds struck Officer Moat in the right side of his throat, severed the spinal cord, and he's down. Just an inch or two down, or to the left, it either hits the vest or it misses the throat. Now, about that time, Blount County deputy, he shows up on the scene. Now, the suspect starts running towards the officers, because evidently that deputy is pulled down to where Officer Moats is down. Now, he's armed with a shotgun, and Officer Moats' partner's got his pistol out. Well, they start firing rounds at the suspect. Suspect's pointing the pistol at him, then he's pointing it to his head, going back and forth. And I'm just sorry the police officer's accuracy was not as good as the suspect. As Officer Moats' partner fired twice, and the deputy with the shotgun fired 4 times, and they never hit the suspect. And the suspect's a big man. He's not some Gumby guy that would be hard to see to shoot at. Anyways, he stops about 25 yards from the officers, and then he just takes the pistol and he throws it down. So now he's taken into custody. Now, Officer Moats is transported to the hospital there in Knoxville, and he's declared dead there. Now, they get a search warrant, check the house, and they find a birthday card down in the basement of the house, and handwriting that belonged to the suspect. He said, "Goodbye, cruel world." And he wrote some other things in there. So the implication is he was going to commit suicide, or he was going to commit suicide by cop. And he didn't make either one of them, unfortunately. Now, about a year later, May 1st, 2017, suspect pleads guilty to murder, 5 other charges. And he is sentenced to life with no parole, plus 56 years. Brown liquor make an ignorant man even more so. Cost the life of a good man. Officer Kenneth Ray Moats. End of watch, August 25th, 2016.